welcome to another crudely made build showcase. Well, today I'm gonna showcase the um, crit mage support hybrid hatchet build that allows you to dish out a lot of damage while being able to debuff the enemy and help your teammate in the meantime. It's a pretty effective build, and it's especially really powerful when you play with more than if you play expedition co-op in depths where the enemy really requires a lot of debuffs to make them doable, or else they have like a ton of health, a lot of regen, basically infinite key, and bullshit attack. So this build really helps in just definitely shredding and destroying any type of bosses in depths co-op expedition. By alone, it's a bit tricky to play because of your limited kit in attacking. But if you're skillful enough with hatchet and maybe as some secondary weapon, it shouldn't be a problem with this build for dishing out damage, and just debuffing the bosses on your own should be fine. So we're gonna go through the graces and set bonus we use first. I'm using Grace of Tsukuyomi, which give us reduced defense on Mio magic hit, some Omeo magic power. Not the best 5 feast bonuses because I'm doing crit, so it's not gonna proc. And Untouched Omeo with Empower Omeo magic. That allows us to recover Jutsu while gaining melee power in proportion to our maximum Omeo magic power. So that's really good. It allows us to like recover our debuffs really fast and constantly, so that we can constantly apply debuff at a range on the enemy, while also giving us like around like 26% damage or so, depending on your Omeo power, of course. So for the set bonus I'm using, it's the legendary Minkao Warrior, or the Die Hard Armor. It gives us one of the probably the best crit related bonus with melee key consumption crit at 15% basically, and a lower ultimate courage, but that's super good. Melee damage crit up to 26% total. Damage bonus health loss as well. So we get like around 30% extra damage when we're at 1 health. That being said, let's go through the armor and let's go through the gears and what you might actually want to get for the gears. So hatchet is definitely our primary weapon. I maxed it out to 200 plus 120 with a base attack of 7,300. So pretty high base attack. You probably want to get as much base attack and just attack in general for a crit build, as you want to deal as much damage as possible as well. And with a base attack 7,300, it really boosts my damage up to a ridiculous amount for my hatchet. I use the Barbarian Hatchet for the fixed imbued corruption, because it's going to be a corruption focused one. And yeah, I'm not going to use purity at all. But if you could find a good hatchet with maybe like a roll hatchet with melee key consumption as fixed and then also imbued corruption as a random roll, then that's pretty good. Because I do not like the item drop rate stat right here, and I would much rather get a mystic diet as well. For the other stats, attack bonus is definitely necessary, preferably a star effect with 50 extra damage as compared to the normal attack bonus from the blacksmith. I got 2 active skill key consumption on there, active skill key consumption and melee key consumption critical. So just to know that the critical bonuses here for key consumption actually doesn't conflict with normal key consumption. So theoretically you can get both of them like that. It's not like modded or anything, just it's possible. Preferably inherit the melee key consumption critical. As the other key consumption would be easier to roll. Though this is not necessary because we have a lot of sources of melee key consumption that could help us like manage our key really well and doesn't waste too much key. So we have a lot of key to dodge as well as compensate for the new pebble buff. And next up is the star grapple damage 20%. This is not the best one, but you know, it will do for this hatchet, so I have this hatchet as this. Preferably you can get the Mystic Dad for hatchet, which are both pretty good. And one of them reduces the penalty on range hit throws, and one of them increase the damage for charging throws. So yeah, both of them are pretty solid, and if you can get a Mystic Dad, go for it. Second weapon is just for complementary. I use the legendary Minkawa warrior katana. This is not really necessary as we get into the armor part, but for my current setup, I do believe the katana is necessary for this. And also I use katana for, I play with katana a lot, so it's perfect for me. The ranged weapon can be anything. Both of them have to be Grace of Tsukuyomi, and that's all we really need. As for the stats, preferably hand cannon speed up. So fire damage, that also boosts your talisman damage if you're ever using fire, and damage bonus agility, of course, on both of them, as it impact your weapon damage directly too. For the helmet, I'm using the Die Hard helmet. That's refashioned to White Fox mask. For the helmet, what you really want to get is melee damage critical. That's what you want to get. Star effect, Anima charge star melee attack star effect, because you're gonna be using hatchet, and even though it's a combination of throwing and a melee attack, it's still considered a melee attack at the end of the day. So yeah, you want that as well, and also elemental damage taken guarding. That's necessary for the helmet, and preferably untouched Omeo magic, or just pure Omeo magic power. This one also has a cherry on the top with key recovery critical 10%. It's definitely not necessary, and I think changing to untouched magic would be better. However, I just have there because it plays perfectly, and I like the looks of that 3 stars. Preferably, you also want to have an attack inheritable, flat attack 40 on top of it, just to maximize your damage. Okay, for the chest, this is where the change up comes up. So for the chest, I'm using the training robe. This is because the training robe has the lightest weight, and for Die Hard, it's actually a medium weight armor. So even with like 200 stamina and 200 strength, you probably have only a B agility at most. So that's why instead of wearing another Die Hard piece, I use the training robe. And then I use the katana to substitute for that Die Hard piece to get the maximum 6 piece bonuses. Training robe allows me to get my A agility, as you can see on the top of my equipment weight, with only 30% at 40 stamina, and that's pretty good. As for the star effect, you probably can only get one, so preferably melee damage critical or sentient charge would be fine. And yet again, preferably with attack and Omeo power and untouched Omeo. For the gloves, we also use Die Hard glove. Yet again, you want the star effect melee damage critical. You also want my 1 melee attack key consumption star, and faster movement speed, Omeo magic hit. This is a really good stats that you want both of them actually, so that you can have reduced key consumption and also just make yourself move faster. Since you're gonna be a mage, you're gonna cast a lot of Omeo to begin with, and also just preferably untouched Omeo magic, flat attack 40, and I have the melee key there, but you know, it would be better with a star effect Omeo power if I can get it to give me just more damage overall. For the pants, I'm also using Die Hard pants. Yet again, you want melee damage critical on here, and I have Sentience Charge just as added bonuses. You also could get Untouched Omeo Magic, preferably Omeo Magic Power as well, and flat attack. Uh, and what's more important is the elemental damage taken guarding. So we're basically gonna have that stats on 3 pieces, in which the head can be temperable, and then I'm gonna have it on both the foot and also the pants, because you know, you can't really roll much stats on there, so it's not required. It's pretty good to have that on both these parts, since you got free space and you can get that 100%. And we'll be blocking a lot of range projectile attacks, like Nioh Tengu's Fireball. And that stat is gonna really help us against that kind of projectile attack that also deals elemental damage, which we can't really, if we don't dodge it, we pretty much get fucked at the 1 health. As for the Grievous, I'm using Die Hard Grievous. It also has elemental damage taken guarding, which on the head and the pants gives us 100%. What you want to get for the Grievous especially would be melee damage critical star and also star dodge range up, as star dodge range up will help us maneuver around pretty easily and faster, while melee damage critical is just more damage. Yet again, you preferably want Untouched Omeo or Omeo Power, and just flat attack would be really nice. For this, my Grievous, I have active scale key damage, just, you know, it's an additional star effect, and I guess I have both the dodge range up and melee critical, so I don't really think I should change anything right here. Maybe just add in Untouched Omeo, perhaps. For the accessory, what you want to get is definitely the Sloth Omeo Magic Kit and stat bonus requirement reduce 1. So these are the required stats that would be really good to have, especially the stat bonus requirement. So we can have 7-piece Tsukuyomi and 6-piece Die Hard activated at the same time. If you don't like to play with Sloth, you don't have to get the Omeo Magic Sloth, but since I'm doing this is a support debuff build, I want that to not only help my teammates but also help me better to dodge attack, and just slowing down the boss by 20% is really good. You also might want to get melee damage via corruption, because we're gonna be utilizing Guardian Spirit Talisman to apply corruption like consistently, and that 20% plus 20% is 40% free damage. It's gonna make our damage go like crazy after applying corruption. Also, preferably you want a melee damage via Stereo Key for just simply more damage, or 2 Sentience Charge. Like on mine, I have Sentience Charge 120%, so make my weapon go into Awaken faster for 30%. That extra 30% Awaken damage, basically. Lastly, you want Untouched Omeo Magic and Omeo Power to give us, you know, just not waste Omeo since we're a mage, and more damage from the Omeo Power. You probably want a Omeo Magic power bonuses Amrita Gauge, and one of them has flat Omeo Magic Power, because the Amrita Gauge gives around 50, roughly 50 Omeo Power at max. Okay, at maximum Amrita Gauge. And also, you might want. Also, it's best but not required to have a Magatama. To have both as a Magatama, since Magatama give us 6.9% free anima charge, and that's really good. You could also consider using a orange Magatama, which is anima charge critical, and that's gonna give us a much higher at 12%. So that's gonna be 24% anima charge from accessory passive passive alone. So that's really good. But I would prioritize to get the star effects first, like the set bonus, and maybe the melee damage first. So yeah, that could be something you might want to think about it if you want to min-max the build. For the scrolls, I have ultimate magic for longer duration buffs and debuffs. Ultimate courage for key consumption, because we want to stack as much key consumption as possible so we can spam attack and be able to dodge attack and be able to compensate for that new purple buff that we'll be talking about later. Untouched magic is always welcome at 7.7%. That's the highest I've got, and I'm happy with it. Sentience charge is pretty good too. I would like it at higher, like maybe 94.8%, but 90% should be good. And also melee damage or Omeo damage bonus, Omeo power. So that's around 5% damage with how high our Omeo power is around. So those two are all pretty good to just provide us with more damage on top of existing damage to get that juicy damage cap for the crypt. And also you probably want to get Path of the Rufus for 30%, like around 20% more damage. And since we're going to be playing crit, we don't really care about increased damage taken since we're going to get one shot anyway. For the Jutsu setup, let me just flash it real quick. So right here, let's take a look at the Jutsu. So at the top I have Levitation Scroll. This one is definitely necessary and it gives us the ability to not die on terrain effect. So like fire by Shibata or water puddles from Aquaman, because those kind of things fucks you up randomly, or even the fire from fucking Kasha. It's really annoying. So levitation scroll is gonna help a lot during the battle, and preferably we want to have 5, but I have 3 because I really want to max out the capacity. On the left for the first one we have Tiger Running, and yeah, this is just to max out capacity. We already have a speed proof from Momio Magic Hit, so this is not required, and you know, for better purposes you can put it all into levitation. So 5 levitation would be really nice. For quick change, of course, this is necessary just to if we ever to die, yeah, we got a quick change and we got a free life. I don't think I need to explain more for this one. And lastly, the last gambit pill. This is definitely necessary. I put it at 4, which is the maximum efficacy, maximum preparable, and this allows you to go directly into critical state while also maintaining that critical state, but limiting your maximum health to only 30%, while also on top of that give you like around 50% damage boost, 50% or 60%. So this is fucking fabulous, and you definitely need 4 of them. I would prioritize this one over all the other ones. Now that's the ninjutsu part right there. Now getting into the Omeo magic I use. Gust Wind Talisman to prevent projectile damage like Saika or Ren Hayabusa's Shuriken, but most importantly to prevent the archers when you play co-op depths expedition. For the left side I got Carnage Talisman, which is one of the highest damage bonus in the game. Do know that increased attack, anything that has increased attack stats is gonna get override, not override, but it's gonna get like overlaid if there's a better stat. So I would say Carnage is counted as an increased attack stat with a 40% damage boost efficacy. So I don't think you would need any else increased attack that can pretty much cannot override this one. So this one's probably the highest, and I have 3 just for the 3 bosses. For the right side I have 3 barrier talisman. So this is gonna give us enough key recovery as well as ultimately dispel any kind of yokai realm on the floor. It's gonna make us it's gonna allow us to spam our hatchet and recover really quickly as well if we ever run out of key. Really good when paired up with a lot of melee key consumption. As for the bottom one, I have Arch Shokai Talisman, which gives us 50% extra anima regen and gives much needed anima regen to spam yokai ability at the distance. Moving on to the third slot, I have Life Seal. This is mainly for killing human enemies. So Life Seal stops the region of human enemies key completely. Pair this off with uh, Yatsunokami and you can pretty much destroy any single human in the game. And since we're gonna be running Empower Omio, do know that we can recover our Jutsu, so we're gonna be debuffing the human with this like pretty much all the time and sometimes up to 10 times the time to just completely decimate their key and completely destroy them. For the left side, I use the Lightning Shigami. This is pretty good at applying lightning and applying our various Somio buffs. And you can set this up first as well and then shoot at it to make it explode while your hatchet go through them and hit the enemy. Same for the water Shigami, same purposes but apply water instead. And I find it better at applying elementals than just normal shots in Expedition when the boss has 3-time resistance as well. Kinda shit. Um, like they have 3-time resistance and accumulation, but not damage itself. So I find this one better at applying water and lightning than using the shots. And they're pretty long range too, so you don't really have to get too close to apply the elementals, as opposed to like Geyser Shot and Thunder Shot. For the bottom one, I bring 2 Guardian Spirit Talisman only. This way we can. The reason I bring 2 is because I can recover it, and this one takes a lot of space, so I would like to limit it to not a lot. Well, this talisman, we're running the Kununoku, the Fox, and also Baku as a secondary Guardian Spirit right here. So we're gonna get to that, and yeah, this talisman will let us spam like Baku and Fox Laser to apply corruption really easily and consistently all the time, which gives us that juicy 40% extra damage, gives us stopping key recovery bonuses, debuff on the enemy, and you know just corruption is awesome. So yeah, this is gonna definitely be necessary for us to use here. As for the fourth slot, I have general utility. For the first sloth, Amulet of Camaraderie to revive my teammates, Sacred Brush if I ever run out of Omio items, and Shinobi Box if I ever run out of ninjutsu item. And lastly, for Claybell of Beckoning, sometimes we'd like to use this to just destroy bosses if we don't go on the expedition speedrun. So yeah, I put this here. You can maybe slot in like whetstones or something, or even just Guardian Spirit, Moment Talisman, like the shop version of Guardian Spirit Talisman for the last slot. If you don't think 2 is enough, and you might run out. Some good recommendations for Omio as well is the Soul Purge Talisman, which give us 55% extra melee damage and 255 luck in exchange of 300 familiarity or the full familiarity of the weapon. The minimum cap is 300 in which you can use it immediately and you don't have to go to 999 to fully use the talisman effect. Also, you can bring that as one efficacy and maybe exchange one of the Shigamis for it to just get that 55% juicy extra damage. And since we're gonna be running as much damage as possible for crit, it plays perfectly into it. And maybe you can use the last utility slot for whetstones as well to just slot in that soul purge and have the soul purge on demand anytime you need to just spam whetstone from the utility slot. After we got to the jutsu part, let's go to the guardian spirit I'm using. I'm using Kuzunoha the Fox and Baku. The reason for the Fox is definitely Omeo related bonus. So yokai ability aiding enemy, which is gonna be like constantly since we're gonna be debuffing the boss always. So we got 10% extra yokai ability damage. We got Onyo bonus, Omeo hit is so good to just give us extra anima, and elemental damage is always welcome too. For we're using Omeo. As for Baku, Baku gives us like a brute counter capability, so if you need it, you can switch it. Since the Fox is Fanta and doesn't really counter all the enemies. Brute also gives us Anima charge as a passive secondary bonuses. That's always welcome. And most importantly, Brute has one of the best corruption guardian spirit skill, in which he applied a mist that not only apply corruption really fast, but also apply paralysis really fast. And you can use this to, after confusion looping and getting the enemy out of key, use his guardian spirit skill to basically reset the witness state if you need it, or even just use it on humans to like stun them and apply corruption on them so that they don't recover key at all. Let's get into the soul course right here. I'm running Yatsuno Kami. So Yatsuno Kami is definitely a must for this build, I would say. It's a ranged attack spirit that you can put on demon and spammable. It does super high break and does a lot of key damage to human enemy. It's gonna help us destroy human enemy pretty easily on the range basis, since they pretty much block all your hatchet as well. And so Yatsuno Kami is definitely necessary. Preferably you want attack 66 for extra damage for your hatchet. And Anima, just a good bonus on top of that. Or maybe Sentience Charge or even melee damage with Kinowafkin would all be good. But yeah, attack 66 is quite good. I have Onibi as a secondary, as a second slot. It is here purely for, because I don't have enough space, so it's purely here for its kind of decent bonuses at low cost, but I don't really use it. It provides elemental damage, and preferably you also want attack 66 on this for more damage. For the third slots, I have Nightmare Bringer. Nightmare Bringer, it's an awesome soul core that applies 3 elements at the same time, does insane amount of key damage with its tornado, and also has one of the best corruption bonuses. Melee damage vs corrupted 16%. It's just additional damage on top of our already melee vs corrupted 40%. And also we got Anima charge, we can up in 21%, so that's like free Anima charge from just awakening our weapon, which we're gonna be doing it all the time anyway. Attack 66 on top of that, that's also a preferred stat that you want for Nightmare Bringer, because you just want that extra damage for your hatchet and for crit. And lastly, Anima bonus enemy corrupted. This is pretty good and plays into our build as we apply corruption constantly. However, it would be best if we have Anima bonus corrupted enemy instead of enemy corrupted, as it would give us more Anima while we are hitting a corrupted enemy, and a lot more really. As for secondary, I have general utility wise kind of spirit guard soul cores. For the first one, I have Lady Osakabe. This is only when facing against like big ass enemy and annoying enemy that keeps jumping around during co-op. And so you can use this to stun lock him from range, or yeah, just giving your teammates more time to breathe, as well as yourself more time to breathe, and also doing some sort of damage at the same time. And Osakabe is just the best stunning soul core. That's an AoE stun that also bypass some of the super armor from enemy like Mizuki Dark Realm, Shanten, Steroid Shanten, and Nightmare Bringer charge up mode. Yeah, definitely a recommended one here. Preferably you want yokai ability damage on this, but really it doesn't really matter because you can switch back to primary as soon as you use this. For the second one, I have Nupepo. So Nupepo is an awesome score. What we really aim for Nupepo here is that once you use Nupepo, you get a stat called Berserk, which basically increase your damage by 50%, no conflict, but at the same time, your key consumption is increased by 100%. This is also why we have so many melee key consumption related stats, so that we can basically mitigate, almost mitigate the Nupepo debuff while getting that free 50% damage. Yeah. And I put it mainly on secondary because I don't want life recovery and retail absorption to interfere with my crit, but also just um, but also sorry for that, but also I probably don't want it as a probably don't need it as a primary and I'm gonna use it too. And I don't have space for it after I put Yasuna Kami in Nightbringer, so I have it as a secondary instead of at the slot of the Onibi. For the last one, I have Kaisha to apply fire from range. Kaisha also do insane amount of damage against specific enemies like Tsuchigumo, White Tiger, and Lightning God of Yomi sometimes. You could really, yeah, pretty decent core, and if you don't like the life drain yokai ability if you check, you can just switch back to your guardian spirit instantly after you use it, like something like this, so that it applies the buff from the primary guardian spirit. It applies all the additional effects from the soul cores on the primary instead of the secondary once you switch it back. Yeah, so I would say Yatsuru Kami and Nightmare Bringer are definitely one of the best ones that you want to have. But other than that, it's really flexible in what kind of spirit you think you will be using. And like something like Lightning Gun might be pretty good as well at applying lightning, or just Yasha to blow them away while applying water at a distance. So that's the Guardian Spirit of the Soul right there. We're gonna be taking a look at the uh, stat, the statting of the character. This is better, right? Yeah. Okay. So I have 200 courage for my weapon scaling and 200 magic for mage and also weapon scaling. I have 150 skill also for my weapons, partially for my weapon scaling as a tertiary stat, but it's not necessary. Uh, I got 120 dex for additional ninjutsu power. You probably just need like around 30 or so. Yeah. I have around 30 heart to give us much needed maximum key at 1400, and also yeah, our 200 could would give it a lot of key recovery with barrier talisman. My stamina is at 80, plus training rope and just the full diehard set allows me to get an A in agility. Now it's gonna make me reduce my key consumption furthermore, and also allow me to move fast enough so I can dodge efficiently. Main weapon at 7,300 damage. A pretty good damage. If you could get it to around like 7,100 or 200 would be fine. But I definitely prefer as high as possible. For the Omeo power, I have it at 800. I would definitely prefer as higher as possible, but 800 would do for now. And a ninjutsu power at 660 would give us much needed duration for our ninjutsu buff. I'm gonna be showcasing the special effect right here, real quick. Next up, we're gonna be looking into skill customization for my hatchet. The most used skill I use is Advancing Storm to attack at range. Secondary, it's gonna be the Piercing Hurl. You can use Piercing Hurl Shadow for mid damage, but I use Light because it's gonna be proccing faster. And also Grease Lightning. This one is one of the highest CCL multiplier in the game, and you can do a shit ton of damage with this skill alone if you can get the boss down, or if you get a chance to attack this. I think my highest is around like 240k one time on a boss, and yeah, that's a really good damage, and you can strut them even in co-op conditions. Preferably, you want a Raging Strike to have it on your advancing sword, the one you're gonna be using the most. Since it gives not only 20% extra damage, but also keeps you at 1 health, so you can maximize the bonuses from damage bonus health loss. At 1%, 30% damage. And maybe just damage bonus, courage, or damage bonus magic on your most damaging skills that you use other than your spam skills. Other than that, you can use any skills you wanted, and if you really want to do close range combat, I would definitely recommend Deadly Spiral, Dual Hawk, which is like kind of like a yeah, AoE type of skill. Demon Undercop for key break, Spinning Crab for low stance is pretty good too, and also just Lethal Barrage. And one of the best skills is probably Wild Surge. My opinion, for engaging with your attack. Pretty good. Lastly, I'm gonna be going over for the techniques that you might probably find useful for hatchet, especially for um, going for advancing storm. So I figured out while playing through that you can proc advancing storm pretty efficiently if you do it. You move your cursor to the side, so you're going left and right, and then press attack and the moving button at the same time. Because it's just the input for advancing storm basically. It's gonna make you throw out your hatchet pretty consistently. And you can go sideways since you're gonna be moving side. And that's gonna allow you to like maneuver around the enemy without actually getting into them. Like that. So as I say again, move to the left or right. Move your cursor to left or right. And then press attack and dodge at the same time. Would make you consistently use this. You can also like this. You can also change direction during your jump, but the best way is to start from the side so you can just move efficiently instead of just moving forward. And also another technique is a bug that someone else found from the server, from the Discord server I was in. It's basically that you can. It's basically that you can apply Omeo bonuses through just throwing hatchet alone. You don't even have to use an Omeo item. That's just kind of broke. That makes the whole. See how I apply sloth and reduce defense from using my hatchet alone? without using any Omio. So basically, the bug works like this. If you do a hatchet throw, like that, or piercing hatchet, and the moment you throw it, you keep pressing an Omio item, it's gonna consider the hatchet as an Omio item. And because of that, your hatchet is gonna proc all the Omio bonuses while still being a melee weapon and also a range weapon. Kinda broken, I know. Yeah, but it's by proccing all the Omio bonus, I mean all the Omio unhit bonus. So like Anima regen, Anima bonus Omio hit, it's gonna proc. It's gonna give you around like 3.0 Anima per advanced storm. Increase faster movement see Omio hit is gonna proc too. And not only that, but also yeah, reduce defense and sloth at the same time. So you can efficiently and consistently like debuff the enemy pretty much the whole time. And that's probably it for now. That's it for now. That's all that there is to this build. It's a really strong support build, and it makes def an easy cake. Look at the damage. It would make death really easy to do if you do it with someone else. You can just debuff and like helping your teammate out by while dishing out a ton of damage at the same time. Really interesting build you would want to do. Solo wise, it's quite good. As long as you don't play like if you don't play too bad, it should be fine with skill alone. Yeah. So that's it, folks. That's it for today, and that's the hybrid build. I hope you enjoy the hybrid build, and I'll see you all next time. Peace out.